You name it, we've lived it.
And are living it.
Brits moving from the UK all the way to Australia with not a pot to piss in.
A whirlwind romance sparkled on Tinder.
3 months in, pregnant, starting 2 now successful businesses through COVID.
To another 2 new businesses post-COVID, whilst juggling 2 young, spirited children.
Living worldwide, travelling, and pure hustle. We are nothing short of batshit crazy, but motivated as fuck. We are here to tell you our story,
inspire,
teach,
and probably scare the crap out of you.
Uncut, raw, and real. Welcome to Business, Babies and Banter
with Henry
and Jade. Welcome to Business, Babies and Banter. I'm Jade.
And I'm Henry.
And today we are talking about Privé Education, which was a new journey that we started in April last year, was it? The concept kind of was brought together in February.
Yep.
Yeah, but we officially started this in April. And yeah, we're going to delve into the details, but we're going to talk about the rise and fall and the ebb and flow. And, you know, from a very vulnerable position, I just think highlighting the importance of recognizing that you can give something everything. And sometimes it doesn't always work out. And there's also a time to, you know, make the evaluation of where your time is spent, where your investment's spent, and choosing sometimes not the easiest route.
Yeah. But also, as a good story of how quickly you can start something and get something moving at a large scale, because the idea we had, which was Cody and myself in the staff room one day, we were puffing on vapes and scribbling on the whiteboard with like addicts, and we had all these ideas and we literally wrote it down, and then
within a week Cody's put together a whole fucking website.
And then in a few weeks we'd got the ideas, we'd launched it, and then we were doing free lead generating workshops nationally to gain traction for the concept.
And I was on a flight with rollers in my hair for every single one. And everyone's giving me the eye because I've got like a full head of rollers. It was so fun.
Yeah. And look, obviously we've got lots of visions for Privé Hair and Makeup. One of the biggest things that we have analyzed is that education, developing our team, nurturing our team, it's a duty of employers. And that we don't employ a lot of our staff, majority of them are contractors, but even so, for the quality of and the output and what the client receives, and for the development of our team, we know that giving them an education is something that's really important. But we also identified, and you know, this was an area which you came into, and Cody, which was there isn't a huge amount of education out there. So when we looked to find one-day courses, one-day classes on certain topics which we knew were relevant, there wasn't anything.
And some of the issues that we'd come up against, and when I say issues, like all the team are very highly skilled that we employ on the mobile business, but there are some trending weaknesses, shall we say. And it is the trend that some people are really strong with makeup and that's what they're predominantly trained in, but they can only do basic hair. So when it comes to hair ups, bridal hair, you know, there was definitely a gap there. And in the inverse, we have some really strong hairstylists that can dominate any kind of hairstyle, but their makeup needed a little bit of support. You know, they might be really good with natural, but not as good at glam. So we put together this incredible concept, which I am gutted because I just think it's amazing. And I think one of the biggest things that we identified in the market again is not only were there not one-day courses, but there's no hands-on element. So the trend, even in hairdressing courses, is look and learn only. And you know, it's like $900 to come and watch a demo, which is brilliant, right? I'm not saying that doesn't have its place, but as a creative, predominantly kinesthetic learners, you need to put it into practice, especially, you know, if you're not good with hair up and you've never really done that much hair up and you watch someone do a hair up, you are not going to leave that course doing hair ups. You need to practice it and you need mentoring on it. So we wanted to make accessible, affordable was the slogan. Education it's accessible because it's in Melbourne, Brisbane and Sydney. So it accommodates 3 huge states in Australia with some of the best educators.
Yeah, this was monthly. So every single month there was a different class in each state.
In the beginning, we did it monthly. It's a lot.
Yeah, so we were doing 3 classes a month. Lots of travel, lots of flying. Great for accumulating points. but there was lots of early mornings and missed flights and stuff like that. But no, the idea was to give the team in each state the same education across the board. So we have clients that obviously visit us in Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, and even in Perth as well. But giving the team in each state the same education, the same classes, the same topics. And as Jade said, it was the gap in the market was there wasn't anything hands-on. So these were classes where there was being a look and learn element, and then they were actually going to get one-on-one tutorage from the educator doing the look or representing the style on a model themselves as well.
100%. And it really did. And I say this with all authenticity. Of course, every business you want to generate money, but it wasn't to be $1 million business. It was never intended like that. It was genuinely to solidify, upskill our team, support our team, and uplift the industry. The margins, we made it so accessible and affordable, which I don't regret for a minute. But we still had the best educators. But the key to that working, of course, was to have volume ticket sales. And it just didn't quite get there.
Yeah, we'll get to the reasons why it didn't work in there, because I think there's a couple in there that were the main contributing factors. And of course, what we did in the trying to get things moving when we obviously identified that there were problems or there were things not moving the way we wanted. But from a success point of view,
Huge successes as well for a short-term business. Even our accountant was like, fuck guys, you've actually taken off. Like, we weren't making a loss in the beginning for a while.
broke even for a long time.
Yep.
But being able to recruit, don't know if you need to click that, being able to recruit, top educators to become and to get them excited to work with us when we weren't anybody. We just created a company, and then we were able to persuade some of the biggest names in the industry to come and teach at our classes, fly them into state, and organize the logistics of that. At such short notice, it was pretty cool.
100%.
And going in straight away with the big guns was great.
We went in with the big guns. And you know what? The educators were really good. Like, honestly, the quality and standard of work, it was like, I'd sourced the models. Just a fucking logistical nightmare, by the way. Sourcing 3 models a month for 3 different states, and they had to be amazing models for the educator, right? But yeah, seeing what they'd create and the transformation and just the quality, it was amazing. And the fact that we were able to engage with these incredible educators was just brilliant. The team, what we saw, which is quite incredible, we do like a little awards night for Privé Hair and Makeup once a year, and the people that did attend education from the mobile team, we saw significant differences in their confidence, in their delivery of services, and in their skill set, didn't we?
Yeah. Obviously, each of our team, they have to send a photo in after every job. Quality control, good for us to build portfolios and content. And the level of work that we were seeing from some of the girls was incredible. And the ones that were committed to it were thriving in it. And I think it was really interesting because we assumed that this was going to be education for the hair and makeup artists that were up and coming. We see a huge amount of artists that apply to work with us who aren't quite good enough because they're so new to the industry. And the only way you get better is by doing more hair and makeup, practicing and learning. So we're like, look, this is going to be a great way for people to come, be immersed into the topics and the styles and the looks that the market needs, be able to upskill themselves so that they can get more work and advance their career in an industry that they want. And it turned out that wasn't the market. Those
and also
weren't the ones
three players. We were like, the ones on the team who really need this, we were like, so-and-so really needs a bit of support with makeup. They'll definitely go for it. It was all the fucking weak players that thought they didn't need it.
Yeah.
We were like, and you can't force someone to do education. But yeah, we were a bit like,
and all of the higher end artists, the ones who were experienced, the ones who deliver to a high standard, they were at every.
So invested, wanting to upskill. We had one of the team.
That must mean something, right?
Well, it tells you that it's a mindset thing. In my opinion, there's a growth mindset and there's a fixed mindset. And if you don't think that to unless you are fully booked years in advance, you got 50,000 followers and you're making bank, um, you know, that's the only person that I could be like, oh, maybe they're too busy to have education and they're absolutely slammed. But even those people in general, educate themselves, because a growth mindset says that I'm always in you have to have a beginner attitude, open to everything, open to experience, open to learning, always wanting to be better, always wanting to grow. And, this attitude of, well, oh, it doesn't really apply for me. I don't need that. It's just a fixed mindset.
Something interesting that came off a podcast I listened to the other day was, I think I mentioned it to you, there are perishable skills. And there are some things that you learn. And unless you keep learning and keep educating and keep refreshing new ideas, new ways of doing things, being analyzed by someone and giving insights as to things, because you can let your standards slip, you can forget certain things, you can cut corners. And then before you know it, that becomes part of your process and part of who you are. So these skills are constantly being brushed up by the best, which is why they are the best. And for us, it was a real challenge to communicate to those who needed the education the most that they needed it, and persuading them to do it without them actually having to do it. And we obviously came up with different ways and incentives within the business where we were going to provide it for free, in the sense that we would give them complimentary bookings to cover the cost. So it wasn't out of pocket expense, which we thought was a genius idea. But again, that didn't work.
Mate, I honestly, when we talk about the approach, I mean, this is specifically for our team as well. Like, I don't know how much more accessible and, how much more support you can give, and people just not be interested. I just have to put it down to a mindset thing, it is the people that, and we also we made it specifically on Mondays, because Mondays traditionally for hair and makeup and the hair industry in general, most hairdressers are closed. Most people have Mondays off. There's not really an abundance of clients happening on a Monday. No weddings, So we made it, specifically at times and dates that was super, easy. And yeah, in the beginning, there was a bit of excitement, but nowhere near what we had hoped and anticipated for. And, upon reflection, I think we learned a huge amount and we got a huge amount of experience. I don't regret it in the slightest. But it is interesting. It is also a field that we have never had a business in, education. So, we're customer based, and this is kind of like not in traditional B2B, but it's education. It's completely different. It's something that we haven't done. So
Look, we started it with the intention of our team, but we also needed the general public, people outside of our team, other artists, to uptake attendance of the class in order to keep the business going and driving it forward. And that didn't happen either. And we got some, there were definitely some, but nowhere near to the level. And look, there are some reasons that I think that happened. And one of the biggest ones was a lot of education is provided by famous artists, famous stylists, famous hairdressers. It's their brand, it's their name, and they're the ones who do the education. And I think
so. It seems more appealing because
they've got, if you've got 40,000 followers that have followed you for a long time, and you're one of the top one of the top hairstylists in the country, and you say, I'm doing a class, selling 20 tickets isn't fucking hard, is it really?
Yeah.
We were a brand new brand with 0 followers, 0 name. Yes, Privé is a name, which is a service offering, but in terms of education and who we are, we didn't have that credibility or that name or reputation. So I think that was a big part to play. So we had to build confidence, we had to build trust, and we did that by utilizing the content and the highlights of the educators that we partnered with.
Some of the content was fire.
Yeah.
Like, if you go on Privé Education Instagram, but yeah, some of the content was just wow. And I took a big lead in this, because I was like, look, I feel like I'm like the fangirl of Privé, the Privé fucking empire. So I was like, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna really inspiring, chatty, bubbly, do some presenting, talk to the team, be present at everything. And I was happy to do that. But the cost, ultimately, it was all down to just the ongoing cost. So we broke even for ages. And then it started to get to the point where it was like, if we don't see growth, new business takes forever. Right? I'm a new business coach. It takes ages. But bearing in mind, this wasn't our only venture. We have a whole lot of other things going on, and we have 2 businesses which we have worked up from the ground up and are successful and need a huge amount of love, nurturing, and support because they're growing at a very, very rapid rate. Salon, almost doubled its turnover. Mobile business. Did mobile business double? Just under double, but still growing massively. Employing new staff, starting a new office. Like the neglect of those established and successful businesses for a business that isn't our bread and butter, wasn't that much of a need, and predominantly Privé Hair and Makeup was supporting and fitting the bill for Privé Education. The ongoing cost, because you have to get good educators. Can't get shit educators. That's also not brand aligned with us. We're a premium brand. We were a premium education brand. We had to have the best. So we're talking thousands in educators per session. And then we're talking hundreds in flights for the educator. And then sometimes the educator's assistant. And then for my flight. And so this on such a scale all the time, when we weren't seeing considerable growth and spreading ourselves out, myself, Henry, and Cody, thinner, we had to.
Yeah, I think when you look at what made those decisions, we didn't see a huge amount of growth in terms of uptake of new members.
Yes.
We didn't see a huge amount of growth in one-off ticket sales.
Yeah.
We didn't see a huge amount of growth in our team joining and getting more engaged.
If anything, the team who were very engaged in the beginning slowly dropped off, not because they didn't enjoy it. They just, in their minds, I feel that they felt that they'd gained a lot and it was an ongoing thing that they were like, I'm just going to
Leave us.
Yeah, I'm just going to leave this one. So grateful. Loved it. It was incredible. But I feel like I've covered what I want to cover. And so for us, it was like, if it's retracting and it's not growing, and there is this huge ongoing cost and time, the time and energy that it takes to run a business.
And when pausing, I think there's a few things that you've got to look at and ask yourself. Is it a time thing, or is it I haven't done enough? And there's a lot of times where people will go, it's not working, but they haven't pitched enough people. They haven't made enough phone calls. They haven't exhausted all their options. They haven't gone 10x on everything. And so many people do that. And
Hashtag Grant Cardone.
Well, yeah, hold on. Have you, you're in sales. Have you done cold calling? Have you sent 1,000 emails? And we did influencers. We outreached hundreds of makeup artists. We trialed many different variations of ads through Facebook, Instagram, Google. We hit up businesses, salons. So we literally exhausted all options.
I think we could have done a bit more, but because of the huge input we did, we probably could have been more consistent with that volume of input. But because of the demand from the other businesses, and you don't see any movement, you organically spend more time on the things that you get the return from, especially when it's the monetary return, which is supporting the business that isn't doing as well. You know what I mean? But yeah, for me, it was really, because I'm not as left-brained as Henry. Henry's like, right, strategically, this is the overhead, this is the loss, this is the cost, I'm not doing this anymore. And I was like, no. I was like, we're way too far into this. Emotionally, I've given this a lot. I've traveled a lot. I've lost a lot of sleep, time, energy that I could have invested in other areas. I want to keep going. And then, even just the posting, all the things, and we kept it going. And then basically we had a terrible event, which was nobody's fault. A flight, so an educator came down, was delayed from Sydney. So she was a bit flustered and late, not her fault. Everyone was fine. Class was delayed. We spoke to the team. Everything was good. Did a great class, super successful. But then leaving, got to the airport. So then her assistant couldn't get on the first flight because what was the reason? They overbooked the flight or something stupid. And then on the way back, the whole flight's cancelled. So then looked at when the next flight was. It was 2 days later. And we're liable for the flights. And so in essence, we ended up paying thousands
for their accommodation, for new flights.
And it was just, that class already, I think, just broke even because it was quite a busy class. But then if you change it, yeah, and it was just like fuck. And then we really were going to get some amazing big educators for next year, which and the whole trajectory and forecasting was by the time we can get these huge ones. One of them was Sharon Blaine, incredible, but obviously a very large cost. We will be ready for that this time next year. But then when we were factoring it in and we weren't seeing the growth, strategically, it's like we're increasing the outgoings, that the revenue hasn't actually increased. If anything, it's retracted slightly. So committing, it is in the tens of thousands that we were projected to spend, and the revenue forecast was like nowhere close. And then you're scrambling just to meet those things. And the business that wears it was Privé Hair and Makeup. And Privé Hair and Makeup, just so you know, is about to venture into. Or we're keeping it secret.
What this? Oh, international. No, it's on there.
Sorry, I just yeah, like there's big things happening for Privé Hair and Makeup. So we're going international. It's official. There's all these meetings and things in the pipeline.
I was booking today in Hong Kong.
Really?
In 2 hours.
In 2 hours. Have to make sure you're on top of that time zone. But yeah, so like, there's a business there that's kind of like ready and willing and able to just be picked up and loved and nurtured and grow. So
And I think the other thing was that we identified is that the energy that we were putting into that wasn't growing or showing any development, that same energy being put into the salon of Privé Hair and Makeup would amplify massively, and would see so much of an impact on that energy in those businesses than what we were seeing. So it was a decision that we had to make for common sense, really, and it's on pause. It's always there.
yeah,
It's there.
it's 100% on pause. Like,
But
I'm ready and willing. If there's any hair and makeup artists listening, and like 40 of you message me tomorrow, we'll set it up again. I'll press play. No, all jokes aside, like it is on pause. It's a fantastic concept. The noun framework's there, easy. But we cannot, especially, I'm having a baby, obviously. And also my coaching. Like my coaching is something that I'm so passionate about. I love it.
Ironically, this actually, sorry to interrupt you, but just so you know, people, this is actually a big element of why it was a big learning element that you've now got in your repertoire for your clients, because you've got businesses that have worked, and you've also been able to analyze this business, if something has worked, and what was the reason why. And you learn more from your losses than you do from your wins.
So I'll do else and fucking losses. Let me tell you, like, everyone just looks at the successes, which is why we wanted to talk about this. You all right there? From the jungle.
Yeah, you see.
It's easy to talk about the successes and and everyone looks at Privé Hair and Makeup and the salon and they're like, oh yeah, that's smashing it. But there was a time where we couldn't pay our tax and we couldn't pay ourselves, and we just could pay for the products that we were ordering and the salon team and like months of not paying yourself. And so you do have to go through that. And it is important to, there's so many different elements and moving elements to it. But with all these learnings, but with this time that I've now got, I'm really able to invest that into my coaching, and I just love it. Yeah, when I get off a coaching call, Henry's like, "What the fuck's wrong with you? Don't have a coaching call."
Jade allocates an hour for a coaching call, but always goes back to an hour and a half. So if you do coach with Jade and you pay for an hour, you're going to get an hour and a half. So she's actually good value for money, because she's not going to stop you from talking. You got to stop her from talking.
Thanks, Henry, for that.
It's good though. You give
insult / promotional advice.
You good value. Well, listen, you get an hour and a half.
Great value.
An hour. 50% free.
Said you buy one, you get lower free. But yeah, no, massive learning journey. And we just were honest with the educators as well. We just said, look, we're just putting this on pause. Jade's having a third baby.
And a lot of them were upset too.
Yeah, no, they were 100%. But it's just, there just wasn't that volume. There just wasn't that growth and that uptake that is required for the amount of time, energy, and money that was required to keep pushing that business.
And I think now I've said to Jade that if there is any other businesses. It's going to be purely an online, not in person, non-service based, something that's really easy, that doesn't require.
What, like a studio space?
I said another one after this is already here, so another one.
Yeah, we're building that GMB and working on the studio as we speak. But no. So look, a huge learning curve. Had curve, sorry, not curve. Sorry, pregnancy brain. Huge learning curve, really great experience, so much fun, very grateful for it all. But yeah, it was made, and the decision was made to put it on pause, and it has definitely been for the greater good. It was only when it was actually paused, I was like, fuck, I feel so relieved.
We had big fights because I wanted to pause it sooner.
Yeah, I know, because you're just trigger happy. You're like, all right, fuck this, cancelling it, calling the educator. I'm like, but the class is tomorrow. He's like, no, fuck it.
It's a
You're
vision.
not going to cancel it. You're not a visionary at all. I'm the visionary. You're the fucking left brain fucking Debbie trainer. Okay, Cody laughs into the background. He knows.
Saw the answer for it.
I am the visionary. I am the visionary.
Cody and I.
You are the Debbie trainer. Yeah, let's fucking cut that. Let's fire them. Fuck them off. Cancel this. I'm like, all right, just calm down a minute. Let's just think about this. Honestly, he's fucking rude.
I was right.
It's not about right or wrong. It's about your appropriateness, and timing was not right.
Listen, of course timing was right.
No, it wasn't. You were like, nah, fuck it. We're just going to cancel that class. I was like, but it's literally like, there's like 10 people booked on. You were like, don't care. Not doing it anymore. Fuck it. I'm not running the ads. And I was like, okay, Henry.
It wasn't that bad.
It wasn't. And he was.
If there were 10 people, that would have been the biggest class we ever did.
You know, wasn't there never be 10 people in some of the Melbourne classes? He's full of shit, everyone. He's full of shit. Anyway, thanks so much for listening, guys.
You got your fight at the end. There you go. You always want.
Apparently, that's what Cody enjoys most about the whole podcast. So we just had to fight me. It's like, and it's just when you tell Henry off, it's so entertaining. He's laughing. Thanks for joining us. We have a very exciting episode next week, which is a bit more about our personal endeavors and life journey. But yeah, it's always something new, something exciting. So we will see you next week. Hope everyone's doing well, and take care. Say bye.
Thanks for listening.
And hopefully laughing. Be sure to leave us a review, and if you're into the madness,
Check out the links below to follow our day-to-day journey.
stay tuned for the next episode.